So in a recent video, I went over step by step how I transformed this empty space that you're seeing now into my ultimate dream setup, and I can't thank you all enough for your overwhelming response, as it's been a little over 3 months and currently it has over 2 million views. But by far, the question that was asked the most about this project was how much did it all cost? So in today's video, I'll be going over the complete breakdown of absolutely everything in the build, as well as leaving links in the description for everything in case you're interested. Now to kick things off, I'll begin with the lighting components, and I ended up using a lot of LED strips. I put them around the shelf on the left, the 2 floating shelves over here, around the perimeter of the desk, and on the legs. I decided to go with the SK6812 pixels for this setup because above and beyond all the color options and effects you can achieve, this strip also has a separate LED for whites, which makes them my go-to for most projects. Total cost for just the LED strips ended up being around $250. You also can't forget about the diffuser channels that the LED strips are in, which allows for the light to be perfectly diffused so that you don't see the individual LED hotspots, and I ended up needing one of their 10-pack 2-meter long kits for a total of $135. For the desk, I went with the sit-stand offering from a company called Fazebo. I did end up going with the 63 by 48 inch option, but if I were to do it again, I would opt for the bigger 75 by 63 inch to give me a little bit more room. The desk that I went with is currently going for $480, and so far it's been working out great. I'll leave a link in the description to this specific desk, plus a discount code that will save you an additional 8% in case you're in the market for a new sit-stand option. Moving on to the chair, and I went with an ergonomic offering from Sihu. This just came out a couple months ago, and it's still currently being offered at around $300. Now to be fair, I've personally never used higher end products that cost upward of $1,000, but my previous office chair was $500, and this blows it away in terms of comfort. It comes in either white or black, and at least for me, I think it's one of the best looking chairs out there and complements my white theme perfectly. And what really sets this apart from other options in the same range is that the lumbar support automatically adjusts to whatever position you're in, so it remains in constant contact with your lower back. Now if you did want to get this for yourself or any of the other chairs they offer, make sure to use my discount code Chris at checkout for an additional 6% off. Next, I did a lot of research before pulling the trigger on a monitor, and I ended up going with the Alienware AW3423DW. This has one of the best OLED displays out there, and at 34 inches, it was the perfect size for my desk. It did set me back $1,200, but in my opinion, it is one of the best monitors on the market and definitely worth the price. And for mounting the ultrawide, I'm using an arm from Vivo that's designed for monitors up to 49 inches and 33 pounds. This cost $130, and so far I'm very happy with the performance and glad I didn't spend more to get an Ergotron. Moving on to the mouse and keyboard, I knew I for sure wanted something wireless. After buying and returning a couple other products, I ended up falling in love with the Razer V3 Pro and the Deathstalker V2 Pro. What I didn't fall in love with was the price. The mouse was $150 and the keyboard $250. However, the performance is amazing, and not having messy wires on the desk is for sure a plus, and these are all sitting on a minimalistic pad I got online for about $20. And of course, I had to get the Elgato Stream Deck, which set me back $150, but once you get used to using it, there's no going back. I also stuck with Elgato for a couple other items. I'm using their key light, which is $180, as well as their low profile mic arm that goes for $100. And as far as the mic, it's an RGB HyperX Quadcast that fits in perfectly with the setup. This mic retails for $160, but I got it on sale for $130. Now for the speaker setup, I did a complete video walkthrough of the entire DIY process, and let me tell you, it was one of the most tedious projects I've ever done. The speakers themselves are the Kanto Tux and go for $860. They look incredible, sound amazing, and they were one of the most recommended speakers to me from you guys. I built some custom edge-lit acrylic LED platforms that they're sitting on and mounted them to the desk using some galvanized piping that I pieced together and painted white. The acrylic was around $50 total, and the piping came in at around $30 plus another $5 for the paint. And if you are interested in the complete setup, including how I hid the wires, make sure to check out that full video. Let's now move on to what ended up being the most expensive part of the room. Light Gaming put together this custom PC for me that's an absolute powerhouse. They did an awesome job with this build, as I was very specific for what I was looking for in terms of performance and looks. I'm 3 months in and have yet to have any issues, and my overall experience with the company has been very positive. And the cost for this at the time of making the video came in at around $3,000. Next is the headphone stand, and this is something I get a ton of questions on. I first saw this on Maddie K's setup and loved the way it looked. It's actually meant for shoes, but works perfect for headphones. The stand itself goes for $120, and the headphones I picked up are the wireless Corsair Virtuosos for $150. Next to this, I have my 2 Xbox Elite Series 2 wireless controllers, and even though the majority of the time I'm using the keyboard and mouse, I still enjoy having these as an option. They go for $100 each and are sitting on a $20 clear acrylic stand. Now perhaps one of my favorite parts of the setup are my Karuko basketball figures. My favorite sport is basketball and I love anime, so this series was definitely made for me. The bigger ones were $40 each and only $25 for the small one on the right. I kept the other decor in the room very simple, with a bunch of different fake plants that I got from either Amazon or Hobby Lobby, with everything together costing around $300. And all the shelving is from IKEA. The wall shelf on the left was $100, each floating shelf was $25, and the 4-unit cubby on the right came in at $90. Now before moving on, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Aura. So this is me signing up for their free 14-day trial, and during this setup process, one of the many things they do is scan the internet for data brokers that have your personal information. These data brokers then make a fortune selling your information to spammers, scammers, and other entities that want to know more about you. Now, Aura was able to find 30 such instances of my personal information being in the hands of these companies. Then, with one click, Aura sends out a notice to have my information removed from their systems, which they are legally required to do when asked. Their all-in-one platform offers antivirus protection, credit monitoring, credit lock, financial transaction alerts, secure VPN, identity protection, parental controls, 24/7 US-based customer service, and much, much more. I'll leave a link in the description for you to start your own free 14-day trial, so please make sure to check them out. Thank you all so much, and now back to the video. So one of the things I'm super glad I decided to try was putting up these white dragon scale 3D wall panels. I got the idea from a video I saw by Edgar over at TechSource and was able to hunt down the product, and for the amount that I put up, it cost right around $400. Now for some of the more technical details. I used a couple 5-volt 60-amp power supplies for all the LEDs that cost about $60. The power cords for those units were an extra $20. I then used a bunch of 18-gauge silicone wires to connect all the lights together that set me back $50, and to control the LEDs I installed WLED to 4 different ESP32 devices that all together was $25. I also used a plug-and-play controller that comes pre-installed with WLED from Domestic Automation that goes for $40 plus another $20 to power that. For cable management, I spent around $100 total between mesh sleeves, zip ties, clips, and Velcro. This was something I paid close attention to, and between those 4 products I was able to secure all the wires very tightly to the underside of the desk so that they're almost completely out of sight for a clean finished look. I also got a couple power strips with better surge protection built in that cost me $23. For some extra ambient lighting that's wireless and can be moved around, I snagged this RGB light from Govee that doubles as a Bluetooth speaker. This was $80 and something that I use all the time. So I think that about covers everything, and as a reminder, I'll leave all the product links in the description, so make sure to check that out if interested. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I hope you have a blessed day.